Gurave Namah. Om 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 Gurave Namah. Hari Om. So what we are doing now is, on the request of the PJC Jagannath batch, we'll be doing some things called focused topics. Our first topic that we are taking up is based on the request of Avinash Yadav. It is retrogrades, and as you can see in the adjoining picture, what is retrogradation? Retrogradation is the movement of a planet as viewed from Earth, or what we are calling a geocentric movement. This is not a heliocentric movement, because in heliocentric movements there are no retrogrades. There are no retrogrades in the heliocentric movement. So this is something very, very important to understand. We are in a geocentric movement. So our basic understanding is, I do not know whether I can use a pen in this. Let me see, drawing tools, pen, I can. Yeah, so what I am talking about is, you see, so we call something, something important to know is sansar. Yeah, sansara is what we call earth plane, and that is what is called bhuloka, right? And in bhuloka we have, how are we seeing everything in this bhuloka? What we call a geocentric view. This geocentric view is the view of samsara. That is, everything is going around the earth. So the earth is the focus. So this is the samsara view. So this is bhuloka. Now, in a heliocentric view, what happens in a heliocentric view is that there are no retrogrades, and we call that sannyasa. And that is seen from the sun. So it is called Satyaloka. So these are two very, very extreme viewpoints. Bhuloka is the seventh, or this is the seventh loka. This is the seventh, whereas the heliocentric view is the first, or the topmost of the Brahma lokas, and this is the seventh point. So now these are different viewpoints in Jyotish. And retrogradation, the concept of retrogradation, or how we see planets retrograding, is from the Earth. Like, for example, here we are seeing Mercury as compared to the sun. As compared to the sun, we see, instead of moving in the direction, the sun is moving in this direction. You can see from the Earth, when we observe, the sun is actually moving in this direction, right? Whereas we find that, look, this Mercury, at this planet Mercury, is now moving in the retrograde direction. And now here it becomes direct. And then it goes here. And then you can see this is all direct. Whereas from here, the retrograde motion has again started. So at this point, this is the retrograde motion, but you see out here, if you see the turning points, they are here. At this point, it looks as if it is stationary. These are stationary points. And this is called slow retrogradation. So there are 2 points of slow retrogradation, 1 point of very powerful retrogradation boldly, and 2 stationary points. One is stationary to retrograde, stationary to retrograde. One is retrograde to stationary. See, the stationary points are called turning points. It is from this stationary point that the planet is going to change completely. He will undergo a total life transforming change. Something radical is going to enter the person. His energy is going to change and a totally different personality will come out, as if the double personality is A and B are the 2 personalities, and this is the person, and he has 2 personalities, and this is A, and then he goes to B. So these are the 2 things. Now the personality which he was before, now let us say that he is in stationary point X. I will call this X point, and these are Y points. So these are 2 types of stationaries. These are 2 types of stationaries, and we need to study these stationary positions separately, though they are part of retrogradation, a part of the retrogradation study. But right now our focus is on the retrogrades themselves. The basic point, the green point that you see in the picture. With that, now let us go into the next. Now here we notice the first question that has been asked. Does retrograde Graha behave the same way in D charts as it behaves in a Rashi chart? Now, to answer that question, we assume that you know how it behaves in a Rashi chart. I mean, have you considered it properly? Have you considered all the options that are there? Have you examined everything about retrogrades? Honestly, I don't think you have, because if you had done it, this question would be very easy to answer. So let's go into what are retrogrades and how they are functioning. Now, there are 8 kinds of planetary motions defined in Vedic astrology. These are listed here. And these 8, as you can see, are listed on the right-hand side. And they are Sama, which is the even regular motion. And you can see that the Sama, or the even regular motion, is that of the sun. Then is the Manda. Manda is slow. He is going a bit slow. He has become fat. He has put on weight. He is not walking comfortably or is not able to move in his comfortable pace, that we call behaving like an elephant. You see, it's like an elephant. And this is like the lion. Absolute, beautifully is dancing on the plains. So we call this the movement of the lion, Samagati. And then we have Mandagati, slowly shaking his body from side to side in order to move. So we find that the planet is actually having something else in his mind as he is walking. Now this Mandagati can be of 2 types. Again, we have A Manda, or Manda A type, or shall I say M1, and this is also M1, which is first house or the 11th house focus. It is manda. You are becoming slow down because you have too much of money things in your head. Either you are thinking about income all the time, or you are thinking all the time about your wealth or your family, or second house is normally family. Jupiter's second house is family, Vasudeva Kutumbakam. You are becoming slow because of the family. The responsibilities are pulling you back. Or the 11th house, your friends or your income or these things, are pulling you back. Or maybe you are now the 5th house and the 9th house are the M2 types. The M2 types, or the second type of Manda Gati, as you can see, is a slow Gati of Jupiter. This is for knowledge. It is Jnana. And this particular Gati, we are slowing down because we want to learn something. It's like, you're doing a job, and then suddenly you want to sort of take a break. Let me take a break and do an MBA, and then sort of, if I upgrade my knowledge, I will be able to perform better, I will be able to earn more, or whatever be the reason for which you are going for the knowledge. Or let's say you just want to take a break and go for meditation to the Himalayas. That's also a learning break. Any kind of a learning break is a 5th house, 9th house break. And that is slowing down the pace at which you are working. Your mind has been diverted into some other area. Okay? That's how the consciousness gets diverted. The third kind of movement is called Mandatara, very slow movement. Now that is called Saturn. We are completely slowed down because of either 8th house, which is called Roga, diseases, or debts, or 12th house, too many burdens, or just misfortunes and burdens and things like that. Mandatara is a very, very camel kind of thing, You see, the desert is shown by the sign Scorpio. So when we talk about Mandatara Gati, or moving slow like a camel, thinking like a camel, it means you have to drink tons of water, you have to eat tons of food, and then you take it out. You can take the food back out into your mouth, and you can keep chewing it, and you can retain the moisture from that food, and you can last for a whole day as you walk across the deserts of Scorpio. So therefore, in order to be successful in Mandatara Gati, you have to learn to follow the camel. See, the thing about Gati is, when a planet is in a certain Gati, you have to follow its rules, and then you will survive. If you want to run like a horse, if you want to run like a horse in the deserts of Arabia, well, if you are not an Arabian stallion, you are going to die. So that is why that is the 8th house. Your Ayush will come under question. Your survival power comes under question. 12th house is really worse. It can be very diabolical, very, very unfortunate. It's about falling down. You are going in a certain way, you made mistakes, you fell down, and then you are starting again from ground zero, and then you climb. It's like the monkey and the ladder. So you think about this as, as the pig. How does a pig go through life? So the two examples I have for you for the 8th house and the 12th house for Mandatara Gati is the camel and the pig. Then Shigra Gati, the fast like a stallion, like a horse. We call it like a stallion, like a horse, horse. So therefore we say Mercury represents the speed of the horse, the smartness of the horse, the gati of the horse. It is very fast, very sharp, and very brave movement. He is not afraid of the snake. He is the one that can go and battle the snake. It is Shigragati of Mercury. And Shigratara. Shigratara means running faster than the fastest. And who runs like that? It is the antelope, or what we call the deer, Mrigashira. So this is the way of the moon. And what happens is, if you are going to run around like that in a hopping type of, sprinting all over the place. Have you seen these videos of these, what was that, little antelopes, deers running? The speed at which they dart through the jungle is unbelievable. But that's when you crash. That's when you become, what you say, sloppy. That's when you are crashing into things, you are slipping, you are. So Mandatara is, and this symbolizes, Shigratara symbolizes something called fear. Normally, nobody uses Shigratara Gati. Okay, now these are all direct movements that I talked about. Now let us talk about another kind of movement called the retrogrades, which we were just talking about earlier. In the retrograde movement, the big green part, if you remember, was the retrograde movement, Vakragati. Vakra is another name for the planet Mars. Mars is called Vakra. It means crooked. Mangal is a crooked planet. Mangal is a Vakra. That is his name. And that is how he is in nature. Now, the second type, remember, slow retrogradation. There were two types of slow retrogradation. One type is stationary to retrograde, and the other one is retrograde to stationary. So there are two types of Anuvakra, what we call Anuvakra 1, Anuvakra 2. Okay, we'll go into the differences between them, but for now, let us know what it is. This is slowly retrograding, means he is evil, but not as evil. He is becoming crooked, but we cannot see how crooked he is. This is called the motion of Rahu. You see, the problem with Rahu, he is so diplomatic. He behaves, oh, I will solve all your problems. I am here to help you. But you see, he is the master crook. He is the master crook. So you see, both these movements, Vakra and Anuvakra, are very crooked movements, are very wrong movements. And then we have a movement called Kutila. He is being very clever. Oh, how is he being clever? He is capable of not moving at all. He is completely stationary. He is neither following the direct. See, these 5 motions are the sun, and these 3 are Rahu. You see that? So of these 3 that belong to Rahu, this guy says, I will not follow Rahu. Or even Rahu will think I am following him, but he can even outsmart Rahu. You see, there is a, now in this, think about stationary to Anuvakra to Vakra. Now this stationary is Venus, and this is Rahu, and this is Mars. So Rahu can outsmart Mars and Venus can outsmart Rahu. You see that? Venus is the power of the third eye, the intuitive power of Venus, the Mrityunjaya power of Shukra goes into this Kutila transverse motion because he's completely stationary, conserving his energy. So when Rahu approaches him, are you following me? He says, I am almost there. But actually, he is not following Rahu. Then the sun comes. Are you following me? Shukra thinks, is he mad? Look at his ego. So now basically Shukra is not following anybody. He's just following himself. Or in other words, he's not going anywhere. He's just there where he was. Very strange position, this Kutila transverse motion. Okay, so these are the gatis, and we have understood the nature of the gatis, and we are largely concerned with these two, which are Mars and Rahu, and later we will consider ourselves with this Kutila gati. And once we understand these gatis, can we answer a question like whether the result will be the same in the Vargas? So right now, let me take a little break and give you the motion of a graha is a nodal path when it is retrograde. When the planet is retrograde, the path of the planet is a nodal path. What do you mean by a nodal path? It is either following Rahu or Ketu. Ketu is basically another part of Rahu, is the tail of Rahu. The head of Rahu, or the torso, or the head of Rahu and the torso of Rahu are the two parts, really, we say. You know, Rahu is basically considered the head. So the head is what matters. Now, the planet is supposed to follow Rahu when it is retrograde. Being a planet that follows Rahu, now what do we know about Rahu? We know that Rahu is indicating the desire that causes rebirth. See, rebirth is happening because of two things. One, because of some karmas, bad karmas that we did basically. Okay, we are not being reincarnated in Bhuloka because of good karmas. Oh, I did something very nice, that is why I have come back to Bhuloka. Why? Why did you not get moksha? Because of your good karmas, right? So you are coming back here not because of the good karmas, but because of the bad karmas indicated by Shani. And the bad karmas indicated by Shani are to be studied separately. That is not our focus today. Our focus is the desires that are causing rebirth. So therefore, if a planet is retrograde, it is going to behave like Rahu. It is now going to tell me a desire that was very strong that has caused rebirth. And since the planet is normally not retrograde, the planet becoming retrograde can be a very serious matter, because it is now going to show the desire that causes rebirth instead of Rahu. I will no longer be looking at the planet Rahu for the desires that cause rebirth, but instead I will look at the retrograde planet for the desire that caused rebirth. And now suddenly these retrograde planets have become far more important in my chart. In our charts, the retrogrades have become far more important than the normal planets, because they represent those desires for which we have come to this Bhuloka. There are some advantages to this. There are some advantages because what? They give us a focus. The desire gives us a focus. I like to do Jyotish day and night. So because of that, I have a focus. I do Jyotish. During dinner, I do Jyotish. During breakfast, I do Jyotish. When I wake up, I do Jyotish. When I sleep, I do Jyotish. So that way I get a focus. Because of this focus, I am able to do what I want. I'm able to say go somewhere in this direction, or at least in the society we call the Sansara, world society, the human world society, Bhuloka society. I am achieving something. But in the spiritual society, I may not be achieving it. So there are advantages What are the advantages? Where are the advantages? Well, the advantages are in the Bhuloka. So the advantages that we talk about are all samsara advantages. So we call these as samsara advantages. And what are the disadvantages? Disadvantages are sannyasa advantages. So the problem is a retrograde planet can actually prevent you from getting sannyas because of a desire. Some of these are also a part of the Graha Avastha. We will go into that. So for that, we need to learn about Graha Avasthas. I think I'll be taking this up in Brihaspati Jyotish, if I have the time. I'm doing Dashas now. It is an energy within the Graha. It is a Chesta Bala, for example. The power to try and try and try again until I succeed. I will keep doing and doing and doing till my last breath. That is the power of a retrograde planet. It gives you the capacity to keep trying and trying and trying. You do not give up. The only way to stop a retrograde is to kill him. So you understand, in Raj Jyotish, this is a very, very important principle. You cannot stop a retrograde. You cannot. The only way it can be stopped is when it dies. Why? Because the retrograde is behaving, retrograde behaves like Rahu, and which means ends at death only. So retrogradation actually never ends in life. It is something that won't stop. It will keep happening until you die. So naturally, when we talk about Vedic remedies, the remedies for retrograde planets have to be very, very serious matter. You cannot just wear a gemstone ring for a retrograde planet and expect to have some results. It is ridiculous. Rahu will make a fool out of you. Now, when you look at these planets, they give us an idea of what the retrogrades are coming under. Okay, now we go into maybe choosing the type of retrogrades that we are going to study. There are three types of retrogrades: Vakra, Anuvakra, and Kutila. So see, already when it comes to retrogrades, we are not just using the word Vakra. Most people just use one word, Vakra Graha. That is not correct. You have to be very specific in Jyotish. It's a very technical subject. Vakra is behaving like Mars, Anuvakra behaving like Rahu. Very cunning. He is Vakra, but he is not showing that he is Vakra. Means he is retrograde, but he is able to hide. He is moving so slowly that we are not very sure. He doesn't look like he is retrograde. Okay. Then comes the Kutila, which is even more shady because he is not moving at all. He is not even showing whether he is retrograde or direct. In Anuvakra, at least we know that he is going to retrograde. He is retrograding. But he's so slow that he's showing as if he doesn't have an effect. No, I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything. So that's the way these grahas operate. So whenever you talk about grahas in Jyotish, we talk about two factors over here. We are talking about any planet, and that planet is having a motion, and that motion is causing it to have a certain energy in its head. So let us, this motion of a planet is the energy in the head, or it shows up in the feet, means is the direction of the planet, what I call the direction. So we have what we call grahas and we have gati. Gati is what is called the direction of the planet, how it is thinking, the direction of the thoughts, the direction of the movement, everything is having a direction. Now Vakra are very angry, they are very angry about something. Generally there is an anger associated with the planet, and the Vakra Graha has come because that he is a desire, and all desire causes anger. You know that, right? Desire does cause anger, but the anger is not like anger against something. It is about something. It's about something, not and not somebody. Right? It is something, not somebody. Dushikya, ripu, bhava. Dushikya, bad thoughts. Ripu, bad thoughts. Things are not happening. This is not there. This is something bad happening in the planet. I need to do something about it. This is evil. I need to end this. This thing is negative. I must challenge it. This guy is saying that pujas are useless. I need to deal with that. I cannot just observe it quietly. So these are the kind of people who normally don't like to sit quiet. They don't, because the energies of Vakra, Mars. It's a Mars energy, and there is nothing called peace in them. There is no peace. There is no Shanti. Shanti is not a part of the, it's like, somebody is doing something, let them do what they are doing. No, a Vakra Graha is not going to keep quiet about it. Anuvakra Graha, or gradually transforming retrograde. So that means he says, I am almost retrograde. Give me some more time to transform. So he is undergoing transformation. So he's in that Rahu phase of change. This is normally seen in planets that are in 5th house or 9th house, whereas Vakras are in 6th house, 7th house, or 8th house for the outer grahas. Outer means Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, 3 of them. For Mercury and Venus, calculations are different. Normally we find this scheming, vicious. You see, the transformation is going to cause a lot of poison inside. So a lot of poison is brewing inside. So Anuvakra planets are actually worse than Vakra planets. I mean, when a planet is Anuvakra, it is in many ways worse than the planets which are Vakra. The focus is the three Shadaya, that is 3rd house, 6th house, 11th house is the focus. Where here the focus is only 3rd house and 6th house. Kutila or stationary planets. These are also for the outer grahas, 5th house and 9th house, but it is just for a day. It actually happens for only one day, and maybe a person is born on that day. You see, these 5 Tara grahas are stationary for only one day. For Mercury and Venus, it is even less, it's an hours. And you could be born in that time. And if you are born in that time, you fall in this category of Kutila. In that case, such a person is fearless, is very focused, has the capacity to do sadhana, and is very, very unpredictable. Now, all these things we know about the grahas. What about the lagna? Okay, if you remind me by the end of these slides, maybe I will take up lagna, or maybe I'll take it up when I'm going to teach Gemini. So both Vakra and Anuvakra, retrogrades of every type, behave in a peculiar manner in that they give result of being in the opposite sign. So these are two, and these are all seventh houses strongly involved in all of them. Why is seventh house strongly involved? Because they are following Rahu. This is called follow Rahu. Seventh house Digbala. Remember, Rahu has Digbala in the seventh house. So because these guys who are retrograde are following Rahu, they are tending to, their mind, their focus, their chitta, their consciousness is completely in the seventh house from where they are. But where they are is where they are. It's not as if they have gone away to the seventh house. They are sitting where they are sitting. That is not going to change. For example, if a planet is exalted, then it is exalted. Just because it has got retrograde does not mean it has become debilitated. It is thinking as if it is debilitated. He is thinking debilitated. You know what I call that? I call that Lal Bahadur Shastri teaching. What is Lal Bahadur Shastri teaching? Simple living, high thinking. So think like a sadhu and live like a, think like an exalted, but live like a sadhu. How you live, your chitta, your consciousness, your what is inside you is how you want to live. Let us say a retrograde planet is also exalted in its exaltation sign. Let us say Jupiter is retrograde in Cancer. Somebody asks, is that good or bad? Well, that is different. It is exalted, means it has all the ideals of exaltation. So the mind is in two places. The mind is not in one place. This mind is existing in two places, and they are having the mind in the Rashi where they are, as well as in the opposite side. And the beauty is they are imbibing both. So physically, he may be living like a sadhu, like a poor man, because Jupiter is retrograde. But in the mind, he is still exalted. He is not going to give up his ideals, his principles, his values, his power of truth. Jupiter will not give up. He is exalted. In this manner, you have to think. It is not that Jupiter has gone to seventh house. The word gone to seventh house is wrong. But in analysis of the chart, sometimes we use words which are not perfect, but that's okay. We are not born in England. Let me do a first chart so that we get a better idea. Now you can see this is the chart of Shri Ram, and we have, fortunately, so that we can study, only one planet retrograde. Only one planet is retrograde, and that is Saturn. And you can see that this Saturn planet is the only retrograde planet. Keep in mind, a retrograde planet, if there is a retrograde planet, that means it is becoming very, very significant. Now, what are the two things that we know about rebirth? The two things we know about rebirth is that rebirth or reincarnation in this case of can be because of Saturn or because of Rahu, desire or some karmas that you have to go. Now both of them have come over here. You see that? It is Saturn which is retrograde. So what happens is, when Saturn is retrograde in a chart, you have come reincarnated for some karma to be accomplished. There is something that you have to do. There is some work that has to be done. And for that work, you have come here. Now let us study Saturn from the normal perspective of the planets and the grahas. Now, what do you find? Saturn is exalted. So high mind, avatar kind of a mind, purity. All those things are there. Because Saturn is exalted, the purity will be there. It's a very high mind. It is an avatar kind of energy that is there with which you are coming to do this work. Second, the mind is in two places. As I told you, retrograde planet is in two places. The first house, where the planet is, and the seventh house. So the Saturn's mind is here. It's in Aries, and it is debilitated. So the consciousness, the energy inside, because it's inside energy that comes out. When Shani Dasha will come, or when Shani Dasha came, the inside energy changed. The inside energy of the Saturn energy started showing. You see, inside us, we have a light bulb, and the bulb changes color. And here what is happening is we are getting a debilitated Saturn energy coming out from the inside. So this is the body level, what we call the body level, the body consciousness. And this is the thoughts. So you can see the thoughts are the highest, but the body consciousness, how are you living? Where are you living? Are you living in the palace, or where are you living? Aries represents places having small hills, not the Himalayas. It's not the Himalayas. Aries is not the Himalayas. They are the Vindhya mountains. The Vindhya mountains, or what we call the mountains of Odisha. So small mountains, small mountain ranges. Where there are mountains, he will go to regions where there are smaller mountains, the lands of Aries, right up to Chennai. Chennai is ruled by Madras, what we call the old Madras. Chennai, that's ruled by Aries. And then he will go to Sri Lanka. All that is why they are islands. So all that is to be visited. The body is to go to all these places. The body has to see all these places. The body has to fit into all these places. The energy of the body. Did you see what is happening? But yet the energy of Sri Ram is that of exalted Saturn. So both the things are happening at the same time. Now, later you will learn about Aruda. The Aruda of Sri Ram is here, and Saturn is a malefic in the seventh house, which is showing that it is going to behave like a Badhaka. And when it is retrograde, it means it is in flinching. It will continue to behave like a Badhaka till you leave the planet. So what is Saturn going to be a Badhaka? In what matters is he going to be a Badhaka? In matters of the seventh house and in matters of the eighth house. So what is seventh house? His marriage and his relationships. And what is eighth house? His inheritance. He is the king of Ayodhya. and in the matters of his inheritance, being the Maharaja of Bharat. He is the original Maharaja of Bharat. But what did he do? He told his younger brother Bharat, you be the king, let me go to the jungle. He said it, nobody else. Bharat did not take it on his own. It is he who told Bharat to do that. And how do we know that? Because the 10th house is the orders. What orders is he passing? Who can he order? 10th house drishti of the power. This is the to order. The old man's power to order. Saturn retrograde is the old man's power to order. This power to order is over here. Saturn, this thing on the 3rd house is his parakrama. So what krama, what movement do you have to do? What movement you have to do? You have to do a bow and arrow movement. Why bow and arrow? Because this is the 3rd house drishti of Saturn. The 3rd house drishti of Saturn, which is called the Parakrama drishti of Shani, is coming on Sagittarius on the 6th house of enemies, where we find Rahu is debilitated and is behaving like the enemy of the world. And he does his Parakrama on this Rahu, and in the process, he will destroy Ravana and the entire clan of Ravana. Other details you can learn, but the basic point out here is very clear that it was Saturn who alone could do this job. None of the other grahas. Jupiter's 6th house is Rahu, so Jupiter will help him. Saturn is putting drishti. You see, all these grahas are doing. The planet who is blocking Rahu from escaping, running away from Lanka or something, is Mangal. Mangal is in the 2nd house from Rahu and is blocking the path or blocking the movement of Rahu. There is a strong struggle, but you must understand that Saturn is retrograde, or in other words, he is also having a Rahu kind of energy. So therefore, because he has a Rahu kind of energy, he may do things which are crossing the border, which may look outwardly as being crooked, but it is exalted, which means he's still the avatar, which means he's still the righteous one, which means he's still doing the right thing. So therefore, there are many things in the Ramayana which have been debated by scholars of all kinds, and we will be going to Ayodhya very soon and to debate on these also. For example, the killing of Vali Vada, whether it was a righteous thing for Rama to hide behind a tree and to kill Vali. I mean, we can go into both sides of the arguments, but it is very interesting because one is Saturn exalted, giving his argument of what is right and wrong, and the other is Rahu telling, hey, this is what it looks like. So often the truth of what it looks like may not be the truth. And there are many issues. For example, there are many such things that are there in the Ramayana which have been questioned by scholars. There are matters about Sita, that why did Ram allow Lakshman to take Sita, or even tell Lakshman to leave his wife in the ashram of the sages? I mean, why did he do that? There are many things which are worth debating. So why did he not marry again? Which means that he did not really unmarry Sita. Though as a king, he was allowed to have more than one wife. Why did he not have? So there are both sides of the argument, because technically the retrograde Saturn never finished retrograding. During his entire avatar, during the only time it was Surya alone which helped Sri Ram to complete his task. The rays of the sun, but then he is Ram, so he can do it in other ways. But it, from the Graha perspective, it was Surya in the Arudha, Vargottama and exalted. So you can clearly see how these planets are behaving. I made some notes on the side that this Saturn is Vakra and is having a tremendous energy of Mars. Now we see that retrogrades are like Rahu. They are telling us that the reason of the reincarnation. So can you tell me what desire did Sri Ram have or Vishnu have for incarnating as Ram? What is the desire that he had? His main desire cannot be one, because the desire is normally to be seen on the 7th house, right? So are we going to see it from the 7th house? The Varesha is the desire. Is the Varesha going to be the desire? No. Then how do we know what is the desire of a planet? How shall we know what is the hidden desire of a planet? Is the Rashi chart sufficient for me to know it? Or do I have to see other vargas? These are questions that we need to ask ourselves. One desire is coming from the drishti. Graha drishti. You have learned this. Is desire. And Saturn has one drishti on this house and the second drishti in this house. These are the only two major. 7th house is not a major drishti of Saturn. Saturn does not have a major drishti on the 7th house. So 7th house is for only the inner planet. 7th house is for inner planet, inner graha drishti. So only if any inner planet like Mercury or Venus is retrograde, then we can look at the 7th house to know the desire. Otherwise, from Saturn, the 3rd house, it has one graha. So this is one of the desires. Ravana Vadha. It is called Ravana Vadha. So that is one reason. And the other one, it is aspecting this Jupiter and Moon. So Jupiter and Moon. So that is Jupiter is in what is called the Rishi Shapa. Rishi curse or Shapa Vimochana. The power to come out of the curse, the power to redeem the curse. That is the second reason. So the two main reasons for the incarnation of Shri Ram, as we have studied, only from one planet, the retrograde Saturn is the Ravana Vadha and the Shapa Vimochanam, based upon the two drishtis of Shani. With this, I will end today's webinar, and I will talk to you tomorrow at 11 o'clock in the morning. The same links that you have received will work. Thank you very much.